Hello, Kez. How you going? Hello,
I'm
everybody.
good, thanks.
Welcome to Courageous Conversations. And thank you so much, Kez, for joining us. And welcome, everybody, who are tuning in. Today, we're going to talk. I'm talking to Kez Wickham St, who is a best-selling author, master storyteller. And, I've just been to another book launch of Kez's, the Jigsaw book, which was, I believe, number 15. Is that right, Kez?
That's right.
15, that's phenomenal. Absolutely. You're truly an inspiring storyteller, and you've transformed so many lives around the world, and in your authorship, mentoring as well. So tell us, today we're going to talk more about your authentic voice and who you are, because what we find in the world today, we're inundated, we're so busy, and we're distracted with all the noises out there. There's so many different, flying objects around of look at this, look at that. Yeah. And we tend to lose our way a lot. So I know along my business journey, as we've talked on many occasions about, finding that authentic voice along the way. And I'm curious to know, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are as well, about how does one, who you're out there in the published world, right? I'll give you a little bit. You can share your background as well. Please do that, because I want to, hear more about how did you maintain your authentic voice for your authentic message out in the world. So let's talk about your background first and foremost.
Okay, my background is in the arts, right? Trained in the arts, philosophy, a little bit of psychology. And each time I've trained in something, my spirituality, my authenticity comes to the fore, because we need, if you train in something, you've got to be able to use it. You just can't throw it away and think, well, I trained in physics and now I don't want anything to do with it. You've got to do something with it. Mm-hmm. So I found that my authentic voice came into the art world more loudly than anything else. And when I first arrived in Perth 20 years ago, I was a well-known artist from New Zealand, had written a couple of little things and left a motivational booklet behind me that belonged to a school or a college over there. But I brought my artwork with me, and I really found myself, because when I was living on my own, my husband was up north. So when you're in a small room, all the art set out and the smell of the paints there and the smell of the new canvas, and you put your brush onto the canvas, it's like a little whisper starts. Do you want it like this? What do you want to do? Have you sketched it out properly? It's all these little silent conversations, and it's your real self talking to you. You're not a visitor. You're not a guest. You're not having to put on this mask. This is you. This is you in front of the canvas. And there's nothing more honest than standing in front of a canvas and thinking, it's a blank canvas. And that's what we must look upon our lives as. Once we're born, we are blank canvases, that we are inundated with messages from parents, from family, from siblings, from aunts, uncles. I had a vast array of different family in my life. So, from different races, my family came from. So there was no racism, there was nothing like that in the family. So coming out into the world and learning about this stuff and thinking, but that's unreal. My family are Maori, my family are Irish. I had all some of my family are Jewish. Some of my family had married in South Africa. So I could not understand racism at all. And I had to be my authentic self and be honest about my family. And it was like, oh, well, poor you. Well, nothing poor. I had a wonderful, quite an exotic childhood, really, because unbeknown to my folks, I'd go stay with my different relatives and we do all sorts of wonderful traditional things together. It was just wonderful. So my authentic self is taking off that mask. So there is your blank canvas. And when you look in the mirror, who are you? And what have you got to say to the world? We're all here with a message in it. All of us are here. We're all put here with a purpose, all of us. And it's to pass on that message. This is me. This is authentic. And, whether you want to be a friend or whether you want to go on a blog or write a book or do some art, It's very hard to ignore the authentic you. And that's my background. Not ignoring who I am, but cuddling it and being in love with it and encouraging my authentic self to grow.
Yeah, I'd like to explore that a little bit more, Kez, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the room who might be, you know, listening in at the moment and watching and asking, well, what does that feel like? How did you do that? How did you know the difference between who my authentic self is? Because we've got so many different voices going on. So what were some of the cues for you? What insights that you noticed was the difference of, oh, that's my authentic self, oh, that's not, you know?
Okay, my authentic self is my little whispers that go inside my head. You know, it's like I face the blank canvas. That's a really hard thing to do. I challenge anyone to put a canvas up on an easel and try and put something on it.
Absolutely.
You know, unless you're, you know, and I wouldn't call myself a highly clever artist. I'm abstract and I adore my abstract work. But the whole time I was putting paint on canvas, I would have this little voice speak to me. If you are spiritual in any way, you would know that you often get downloads from an ancestor of some sort. And sometimes, yes, I would receive the, you know, don't do it that way, do it this way. I didn't know. And so I would do it the way I was instructed to, and it turned out lovely. I thought, oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
You know, it's listening to the quietness. It's being quiet, just listening to yourself. Take away the, I'm going to be a published author, I'm going to be an award-winning author, I'm going to be a best-selling author. Take all that away.
Isn't it, you know, just on that, Kez, it's interesting because I noticed that with myself and a lot of my clients, we talk about that. It's like all the voice changes all of a sudden because, you know, this is where we're here up. It's like, oh, got to be, got to do this with my business, got to do this. You know? And we just got to bring it down, listen in.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And this morning, actually, I had a client ring me absolutely fraught with anxiety about, I've got, I can't get on with my book. And I said, you've got very busy days. She is medically unwell and lots of tests and that going on. So I said, so do your day. Just do your day and enjoy it. You know, you're going for tests. And at the end of the day, after you've had dinner, and if you do what I do the dishes, sweep the floor, wipe the bench down, make sure hubby's comfortable with his glass of wine, he's into his TV. And then I say, I'm going to go write for an hour. And I do.
Yes.
I sit in my office religiously once a day, and that hour is mine. Although I must admit, the last fortnight since I launched my last book, I've done very little. I've had an absolute rest, and it's been beautiful.
Lovely.
Sitting there having a conversation and finding out your husband's authentic self, because it changes as we get older. We all change our outlook on life. We change. Is it necessary to be top of the rung? Because as my father taught me, there's someone right behind you. So do you choose to battle your way up there? Is that your authentic self? Is that who you want to be? They're absolutely fraught with fear and anxiety. Take that time out. I promote journaling as much as I can.
Yes, I agree.
And that's where I find my authentic self sometimes. We get lost in the chatter of the world. We get lost in the chatter of, as you said, from there up, it's business. But we forget what's in the middle here, and that's the heart. And the heart talks to the brain and vice versa. And sometimes I don't want to do business. I just want to talk to a person and see their real self. And you can see their expression from being hard-nosed business into that person softens in front of you and will actually have a conversation. And I just think, aha, authenticity, here we go. Yeah. Because I will sell, yes, I sell my little package of what I'm in business with. But I also like to have a conversation with that person and say, you know, if that's what you want to write about, how do you actually feel about bearing your soul to the world? And this is yours.
So how do you, okay, this is a good conversation here, Kez. So how do you manage that side of it? It's like the vulnerability. Oh, I'm bearing my soul to the world here. how do you create that relationship with yourself and that vulnerability, and to honor and know the timing too? Because I know there are certain times that I put out certain videos and things like that, and I go, I'm not ready to put that video out yet. Right? It's listening into the divine timing is what I call it. Right?
Okay.
How do you know? What happens to you?
Okay. First of all, I've noticed that in small groups, maybe 5 or 6 women together, we will share our whispers, our secrets. We will share them. I've heard yours, you've heard mine, I've heard other people's in the room. And I thought, oh, goodness. So I'm not strange after all. It happens to all of us.
Yes, yes. Number one, you're not alone. It's normal.
That's right. It's quite normal to hear that whisper, because if we didn't have that whisper, we wouldn't have a warning system.
Totally.
So treasure it.
Absolutely. And as my client,
how am I authentic?
I'm not going crazy is what you said, right? I hear that from my clients all the time. So, you mean I'm not crazy? You mean I'm not this normal? This is normal? I said, yes, it's normal. You're human. Yeah. Keep going. Thanks, Kez. Keep going.
And we are taught from early childhood, you know, if you act, you know, don't act above yourself, is what my mother always said to me. And I never quite figured out what that meant. I can't be any taller than what I am. So how am I acting above mine? I didn't quite get it, because I took it as literal. You know, her words were, do I climb a ladder? What do I do? You know, what's going on? I didn't know what she meant until I was older. And don't act above yourself is, don't put on that mask that says I'm superior.
Yeah.
Because as my father once said to me, and you know, it's the peers and the elders of my life that have left me with this information. You know, if you get too far above yourself, then you're just going to get knocked down. It's a game of skittles. So I have always been as authentic as possible without ruining someone else's life, which just means talking about someone else. On the recent book Jigsaw, I made semi-fiction, so that times, places, names, and dates all changed about. If someone recognizes themselves in that book, that maybe it's not them I'm talking about, because we also meet people that, you know, 3 or 4 a day that aren't authentic, and they all tell the same story, and you think, oh, I've heard that story before. So my authenticity comes from the fact that I can come on here and talk on a podcast or on any sort of call and say, and talk about the truth about a person, you know, and that person is me. I can't discuss your authenticity. Only you know that. And that's why I journal, is because my true self comes out in my thoughts, and I journal them. When I publish a book about it, the books that I've written, the last trilogy, they were all true experiences. Or someone's come to me and told me a story, and I've played with it. So the first trilogy was semi-fiction. This one I literally was asked to call semi-fiction, Jigsaw, because it was very raw in places, very raw. But
it's a wonderful book. I'm reading the rawity of it that you're mentioning. Yes.
But it's not about sadness, Annie.
No.
It's about who I am today. This is, you know, I got a beating when I was, you know, for instance, you got a beating when you're a kid. You didn't touch the hot stove again. I got a hiding because of that. You know, for instance, not that it happened, but for instance, you know, you're never going to touch that hot stove again unless you're sensible about it. And I've learned in my life to be authentic about that, to be, well, I'm not going to touch the stove again because this is what happened, and it taught me a lesson, and I am now knowledgeable enough to use a pot on the stove. I just don't put my hand on the element, expect it to cook. You know, it comes down to, sometimes the cruelties in life teach you such a big lesson, and you think your whisper is, I'm never going to be like you. I will never want to be like you. And yet the DNA sometimes pops up and you think, oh, I am like that, and I'll change it. And that's what it was all about.
Yeah, beautiful.
Looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking, am I like that?
Yes.
Or is it different? Or do I call it different because it's me? That's not authentic.
Yes,
Authenticity is saying, I am basically a nice looking cover for the spirit inside me. And
absolutely.
what's the spirit all about? What is the spirit all about? Who are you?
Mm. And it's always a big question, isn't it? Because
Yes.
for me, my experience around authenticity is that you take you with you everywhere you go, and whatever your expression is. So, because I get a lot of speakers come to me and asking me to well, first thing they say is you're no different on stage and off stage. So to me, that's my authentic self. Wherever I go, I'm just me. So how you see me,
Mm-hmm.
how you see me wherever I am, and you've even seen me speak as well. So it's
Sure.
always a conversation of real depth and authenticity that comes forward. And I know for me, it comes from in my heart and soul when I speak. I can feel it in my belly.
Yes.
It's not a thinking process. It's a spirit, infinite spirit within me, guiding me and connecting with that, the soul, human soul to human soul.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that didn't come to and through me until after I went through a lot of grief, through miscarriages, and then losing my baby, my four-legged baby, and then listening into that and really feeling the depth of true authenticity of the whisper that you're talking about, and hearing that and deciphering what that truly is, and moment by moment, so that, and not to get distracted with outside influences or advice or, because this is more powerful.
That's right. Grief is very, very powerful. It is really, grief to me steadied. It was a rock I didn't expect when my mum passed away. I
Yes.
was 30. So I had no elders around me to help me grow up to be the woman I wanted to be, the woman I saw myself as. I
Yes.
had to do it on my own and
Mm.
realize, and that's when people give you advice and you think, oh, I can't wear that well. I don't like that advice. But that advice I'll take on board because I quite like it. So
Yeah.
I had my mother passed when I was 30, as I said, and
Mm.
learning to cope with that grief, excuse me, was also a huge learning curve,
Mm.
huge learning curve for me. And
Mm.
that is, um, I don't have to be like anyone.
Yes.
Don't have to, I'm me.
Yeah. Well, as they say, it's like, I think Oprah says, you can't do Oprah because I've got that handled. I've got her handled, It's like you got to do Kez. I've got to do Annette, It's like we're
That's
all
right.
born with
Yeah.
the whispers inside ourselves to listen in to that. And that's what we're here on this planet to deliver, whatever that message is, and for us to decipher that moment by moment by moment within ourselves, and to gain whatever support and new knowledge and new wisdom that we need to then bring that to the planet.
That's right.
So what's your biggest experience that you'd like to impart onto others in regard to, the message, the authentic message in putting that out into the world? What are some of the
Yeah.
you've noticed?
My authentic message would be um, just be yourself. Find out who you are, first of all, and just make sure that the other messages aren't interfering. Now, there's so much out, as you said, there's a lot of words in this world. There's a lot of sentences. There's a lot of people with immense power.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You can really tell a person when they say thank you with such sincerity. I was watching the royal family on the balcony
Oh, yes.
on Saturday, and there was a piece in some sort of blog I read that this woman was deaf and she was lip reading what the king was saying, and all he could say was, "Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you." He was saying it to his pages. He was saying it to his queen by his side. Um, they both looked very awkward to me. That I can't lip read, they're just really awkward. But it's all he could say. And she said, "What a blessing! We have such a kind king." Because
Yes.
all he could say now, to me, that was like, and you could see it. You could see his humbleness. And
Yes.
when you see that in another person, it makes you very aware that you may be on top of the ladder, but there's no reason not to be humble about it. There is no reason not to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Let the spirit come through, let it talk, let it show you who you're meant to be.
Yeah. So what are some of the daily practices that you take on? You mentioned journal writing. That you take on to maintain the connection and the alignment of your authentic self?
Okay. Journaling is at least for an hour once a day. Normally it's at night time when I'm just before I get into bed. And during the day, I work with other people. So I'm very busy helping others become their authentic self in their writing world.
Yes.
And I'm there to stop the babble and say to them, take some time out. So that's part of my job, what I do during the day. The other part is, and this may sound silly, but my husband's retired and I'm loving every minute of spending time with him. We've always been busy people. We've always worked. Ever
Yes.
since we've met,
Yeah.
I was 27 and we're both now late 20s, and it was like work, do the house, do the kids, do the marriage, whatever came in that big bubble of being a family. And now he's home and I'm enjoying that time of just listening to him, listening to his story. I've never heard it. I've never heard his complete story before.
Wow.
We've always been busy.
Yeah.
How many people out there, especially modern families, have to work? Both of them.
Everybody is frantic. Everybody out there.
So I'm no longer that frantic author trying to get my book out, trying to.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is it's time. It's time. With Jigsaw, it was the beginning of a different sort of book for Kez.
Yes.
It was an eye-opener, the way it unfolded to me. And when my authentic spirit is talking, my fingers fly over the keys. I can't get the words out fast enough. It's a babble.
Yes.
And then when I calm down, I think, oh my goodness, look what I just wrote. I didn't even know. It's like someone's leading me to write it.
I hear you.
And you understand that.
I totally get it.
And then when it's a quiet time when I'm journaling, it's like, yeah, it's been a good day. And I choose my words and I choose them to be joyful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not all of us, including you and I, have pleasant happenings 24/7. We all have
We're human.
things in our day that think that was horrible, or that was a bit nasty or whatever. But if you can take the joy out of it. A person said to me the other day, how do you find so much joy in what you do? I said, whether it's cleaning the house, whether it's gardening, whether it's cooking a meal, whether it's writing, I find that I try my hardest to find that kernel of joy.
Yes.
I do my hardest.
It's paramount.
Otherwise, it's pointless.
Exactly. Because and then just as where joy, fulfills your cup up and you get to listen to the whispers. So I too do a journal gratitude, and it's always every morning. And I always use the words thank you for.
Yeah.
Thank you for, thank you for, thank you for.
Yeah.
And what I find is that then I'm able to tap into the synchronicities each day. So I tune into the day before, I tune into that and I reflect on the day before of the conversations, the phone call, the impromptu out of the blue meeting at a cafe that just occurred out of the blue.
Yeah.
Whatever. And they all become the synchronicities of my life.
Yeah.
And then I personally just to add to the ways that I stay in alignment for my authentic is, walking in nature, meditation. These are all the things that are part of my spiritual daily practice that I do. And it's like, I can't turn this off now, to help stay grounded and aligned. And, as I know, you have a beautiful garden and I love gardening as well, So it's being able to, how do you stay grounded? Because I know, even I was talking to a client yesterday about this. It's like, how do we stay in alignment when we're so busy? Because of normally push those things aside and we're always focusing on the project, and then we're on a deadline. So please don't be dead at the line. Don't be dead at the line. Let's create alignment inside the project. So you're enjoying the journey.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey at the same time. Right.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Just enjoy the journey. As I say, live the legacy. You don't have to leave the legacy. You live the legacy now.
Exactly.
Of what it is that you love and what brings you joy and what's important to you, and spending time with your husband, as I know I do too. And, I still walk my dog who I lost 4 months ago. I walk him every day in nature and I'm talking to the spirit guides, tuning in. And then that becomes a part of my contribution to my next project.
That's right.
You know where those whispers go. You've got to honor them and capture them, you know, in the moment.
That's right. Yeah.
Self-talk is a big one as well. The inner critic can actually create so much doubt, especially when we have a powerful message that goes beyond ourselves and we want to put that out to the world. How do you stay in alignment with that and don't force it? It's tuning in, as you say, to the whispers one moment at a time so that we know, because to me it's like, this is your next inspired step. Oh, okay. Move that. And I feel a sense of freedom and flexibility in my whole mind and body. There's no force.
No.
There's flow. And that's what I like to call the free flow zone. So if I'm in the free flow zone, I'm going, oh, this is force. I don't do force. I don't do rush. I don't do hurry.
That's right.
This is where
we
eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's hard work. It's not meant to be.
Well, when I journal and I find the thoughts of anger, disappointment. Disappointment's a huge thing to me. It's the worst emotion ever because it stops you from trusting. But I'll write things down. I'll write it down as it happened, and then I write underneath it. So how can we feel about this differently? And then I work out all the positives.
Yes.
You know, if someone says to you, I just heard something about you. The first thing I think is, oh no, I can't be bothered. Not at this age, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But then when I journal it at night time, I think to myself, there's got to be something good in here. There's just got to be something good in it. Yeah.
Yes, you got to look for it.
Yeah, you do. You have to look for it because that's the only thing that really keeps you sane in this world is looking for the good. Yeah. Looking for the good in everything.
When you know you're connected with your heart and soul, and that's what your message is. It's a heart and soul message. There is no upset. There is no, it's just it just depends on your own emotional intelligence and whether you're doing that beautiful self-care, self-love, self-talk, and this is something that I practice every day. And I know that this is all a part of my life journey because I've been the opposite of, being that push, make it happen sort of girl. And it's just, it's limiting. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So
I agree.
What's the message that you would like to really leave our audience today with in regard to being their authentic self and having the courage to put their message out into the world in whatever form that is, whether it's writing, speaking, authorship, or whatever their path?
I would like to leave a message to discover your authentic self. Discover it. Find out who you are. And if you don't like what you see or what you read or what you feel, then change it. Start thinking in a more positive way. And there are people out there absolutely terrified to step their foot outside the door because of the business in this world today. It's quite harsh and it's really fast.
It is fast.
I'm so glad that I'm not really part of it. When my clients come to me, it's like, well, let's just see how it goes. So they write the chapter and they send it and I edit it for them, and that's the joy of being able to tell someone to slow down and recognize your authenticity.
Beautiful.
This is you writing the book. I'm not writing it. This is you writing the book. So to me, the message to everybody in this room today is, when you do your journal, discover who you are. Don't write down, oh, I had a lovely day today. Good night. That's nothing. Write down, Johnny took a biscuit out of the biscuit tin. I was really cross with him. The good side of that is he did apologize. Mary took the dog for a walk and he ran away. The good side to that is the dog came back uninjured, quite happy, wagging its tail. Everything has a positive side. I won't say a good side, but most things have a very positive side to it, no matter how it turns out. In the end, if you recognize your true authenticity.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering, you know, what books you've written, mentoring. How can they find you, Kez, and purchase your books and your mentoring?
If you go on to my website,
Mm-hmm.
which is www.kezwickhamstgeorge.com,
Mm-hmm.
or go on to Goodreads or Amazon, you'll find my books there. Yeah, if you want mentoring or coaching in your book, just go through the website, they will contact me. And if you want to see someone that's a little bit more like a publisher or something like that, I can lead you into that situation as well.
Yes. So Kez can take you through the whole journey, right from I've got an idea.
Yep.
Before you've even started putting pen to paper, she can help you clarify what that idea might be,
yep.
right through to, you know, getting it authored and published and promoted out there as well. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and, you know, and just for those who might be wondering, you know, I just want to leave everybody today with trusting in the whispers, as Kez was talking about. The whispers within are your inner guidance, your GPS to, you know, what it is that you're meant to be doing on this planet. And don't look too hard. It will find you when you look within. Yes.
That's right.
And my belief is that we are all born to be leaders of our whole life by tuning into our special gifts, strengths, and talents through those whispers, and then listening in what area of your life, in other words, your vocation, of how you want to self-express that to the world. And then you stay in your lane without looking out. Sure, learn from what's going on outside, but do not compare yourself, because you have a unique voice that's channeling to and through you, that's guiding you, and you only have your own interpretation and perception of what that means on how you're meant to put it to the planet. No one else.
That's right.
Beautiful. And if anyone's interested in finding out more about what I do, check out my website, AnnetteStanton.com. But thank you, Kez, for being here today.
You're welcome.
Amazing conversations, as we always do in your beautiful garden over a cup of tea. I love it. And I just want to share this with the world even more so. So thank you so much, and all the very best with your future writings as well. I know you've got some other books in the making and a couple of other projects about to be promoted and put out into the world, which is very exciting. Yes. And look forward to connecting with you again soon. But thank you so much for everybody.
Thank you, Annette.
You're welcome, Kez. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, to Courageous Conversations. I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.